All right, next topic is naming. So if anyone's familiar with the city of Toronto, there has been a few outcry of naming and renaming certain things in the city. So Ryerson University has changed their name because of something in the past from Mr. Ryerson or Mrs. Ryerson. I think it's a Mr. probably. Also a street in the prominent street in Toronto, Dundas Street is, possibly going to be renamed because of the past of Mr. Dundas. So the question or the topic for today is naming a school, a street or a place after someone, is it a good idea, or is this like, you're doomed?
Oh, I think you're doomed. Like, I like to think I'm a good person, but there's probably some weird shit that somebody could dig up from my like high school time or something that I would not want my name to be on a building. And also I think like, I understand like, legacy and all of that, but your legacy doesn't have to be your name. It can be like the project that you did good with, or like, something that you invented, or some sort of social justice that you like brought about. It doesn't have to be the name. It can be like this badass project that this person accelerated. And then the street is now called like, I don't know, environmental just lane.
Well, that's memorable,
Yeah,
right?
like you'll never get lost.
So what do you think, Keisha? Like, do you think there's benefits of naming? Like, so for example, you have the great ones,
like
Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King, and Amelia
Mandela Public School,
and Amelia Earhart, and but where do you sign on this matter?
It is a tough one. When I came here, I went to middle school, Sir John A. Macdonald. And I think it all has to do with timing and where we are in society, because I was taught Canada's first prime minister, he was a great leader, and he helped us to not get taken over by the US, and probably mixing up my history. But anyway, the first school was named after, my first school was named after him, and it was recently renamed to First Nations, something to honor First Nations.
What was it renamed? Did he have some history?
You know what? I only found this out last week because I was at a grade school volleyball tournament, and I saw the name of the school, and I had no idea. I actually couldn't even pronounce it properly, so sure. I'm sure I butcher the name. But when I looked it up, I realized it was the school I'd gone to, and they had done a naming ceremony. So yeah, knowing the history and all the injustice that came at the hands of Sir John A. Macdonald, and he's a sir, of Native Canadians, then yeah, I think the decision to rename the school was a good one. But then, not far from here, you have Nelson Mandela Public School. And I think it's a great name to honor somebody who fought for apartheid and against apartheid and for justice. So I guess it all depends. I think if you're going to choose the name of a person for a building or a street, there needs to be some homework done before you decide to do that. So I think it's a great way to honor somebody who's done something positive in history, but also not disregard the injustice that they've done in the case of Sir John A. Macdonald. So I think, but it came back, I guess it was timing as to whoever was making that decision.
So I'll give you a couple of examples. So Amelia Earhart, right? Yeah. So, she's probably one of the great female leaders, or not really leaders, but inspires a lot of females. My daughters, I actually had them do a project last year where I asked them, every week I want you guys to study a great one, right? And present that to us my wife and I every week. That's right? Cool. So I wanted you guys to pick like 15 around 15 like entrepreneurs. I want you guys to pick 15 like inventors, and I want you guys to pick 15 like inspirational women, right? So they can be inspired. So for example, say it was Amelia Earhart, right? Which is, someone I'm going to butcher exactly what she did, but she flew either around the world or at least over the Pacific or something like that, right? And I'm not saying anything happened, but say something came out and, she had some issues, right? Does that negate all of the greatness that she did, or does that negate, how she could contribute to, the female cause? Because I think every person's going to have some sort of skeleton in their closet. Does that negate all the greatness that they did?
I think it's all timing, right? How it comes out, when it comes out, what is acceptable today might not be acceptable in 2 generations from now, and that's where the problem becomes. That will become all the names that we're doing and we are renaming. It was okay, or it was in the closet, or maybe it was not in the closet, but at this day and time, it's not acceptable.
Right.
And
so should, in that case, if it was something that was tolerated, say 50 years ago, now it's no longer tolerated.
And we have many
should we
examples
rename
of
it?
that.
Should we go reverse that, or should we say, well, what they did was normal at the time, it's not normal now, so we're gonna look past it.
So that brings back to our main conversation: is it a good idea to name places, institution after people? Right?
Well, maybe the thought is that how long their name gets to stay up there before there's like some sort of criteria check.
Well, think about it. Say it was a name like a street. That's a big one. You're basically not only are you renaming the signs, you have everyone has to update their website. They have to update their Google Maps.
There's a cost
They have
associated
to
with it.
update their signs, because some of the signs it says 55 Dundas, right?
Yeah.
Part of the logo, right? So there's a lot of cost and effort and aggravation of renaming something, right? Or you put in your resume, I know that you won't put your elementary school or something in the resume, but you put, a certain school name and it's it's changed and no one recognizes that anymore, right? So,
well, and also Ryerson changed their name last year, and now everyone who had ever gone there in the past, do they get recertified as a graduate of Toronto Metro?
They have to, or they are.
I don't know. I'm asking. Is that a fee from the university?
Probably, because they charge you for everything.
So the student,
if you
or
want
the former student,
updated
has to
certificate,
pay.
Your degree actually doesn't count anymore.
You actually have to come back and do the 4 years. Yeah.
So we're kind of this, you guys are on one, basically there is benefits, but it should be readjusted after a certain period of time if it's no longer if their crimes are no longer, or things that they were not crimes in the past are crimes now.
Yeah, the perception of their skeletons and their flaws.
Right.
50 years ago, that could have been a small flaw, or what they did was acceptable.
Right.
But society has changed, and what was acceptable 50 years ago isn't acceptable now. So
Is this part of cancel culture? Is this part of cancel?
Part of cancel culture.
And you think it's going too far though?
I think, with some cases, yes, but.
For example, you drive Lincoln Alexander, which is a highway in Hamilton. I think he was a politician, but say for example, I never Googled him, right? Well, actually I did, because I wanted to know who he was. But normally most people wouldn't Google who he was, right? And so you don't really some of these names of these streets. It's just the name, right? You don't even know who they are, what they represented. Does it, is it worth all the headaches and aggravation of renaming something just because they did something? Now, I'm not discrediting the crime, but I also don't want to diminish some of the greatness. I'll give you one last example on this. Winston Churchill, right? Who, used to be a hero. Then he kind of went into the, he's a demon. And I was chatting with someone recently, and then, his claim to fame, amongst a few things, was the fact that, him, Britain under him basically was able to defeat Nazi Germany. But he was a monster. But someone told me, well, you kind of took a monster to beat a monster. Yeah. Right? So, you wanted him to be a monster, he can beat Hitler. So, he's a hero. Then, well, he's a monster, we shouldn't celebrate him, right? So,
because at times like those, you need the monster.
Which is a different topic for a different day. But I see some of the, what's that?
Remember that one?
Exactly. All right.